Okay, so I will be going over my week 8 coding assignment. And the steps for this assignment was to style a website we made last week using cascading styling sheets. Use only external CSS file. Every element must be styled. Create style rules using class ID and element selectors. Now, on the left side is my styled pages. I'm gonna go through them real quick before I dive deeper into what I did. So that's basically how it looks like. For my home page, I styled my H1 heading. I styled my image simply just by centering it using a class. I styled my H3 heading and I styled my paragraph heading. And I also styled my div section. And I used an external file. And for the body, I put a beige background. And for the H1, I put goldenrod, as you can see, goldenrod. I centered the text and I put the font size at 100 pixels. For H3, for this heading, I used goldenrod again. I centered it, but I used 50 pixels. And for this paragraph, I used this large paragraph. I'm pretty sure it's an ID. Yeah, large paragraph ID. And I set it to 30 pixels and I also centered it. And at the bottom of all 3 pages, I added a color background, light blue, border style solid, border color, dark blue, border radius 5 pixels so that it looks kind of rounded. And I centered the text within it. Now moving on to my about page. My about page, I centered my H1 and H3 heading, same as the first page. And for the paragraph, I enlarged it as well using 30 pixels for the font size, and I also centered it. And for the table, I styled it by using this border collapse width 100, and then I added these for the table heading and for the table data, and it resulted in this. I also added a hover feature so that when I hover above any of these tables, it highlights the row with the yellow background. And I also added a background color for every second row. As you can see, 1, 2, 3, 4. What else do I need to review? Okay, so this is the HTML file for this page, for the about page. As you can see, I added a style at the end of this picture to center this picture, and I also decreased the size so that the pixels weren't too blurry and so that the picture was still clear. I did that in this section right here in the center about, and it differs from the other centered pictures because the centered width is 50% in the other pictures that I used, and in this picture I used 25 because the pictures would have been blown up and it wouldn't had been clear. Now moving on to the contact page. For the contact page, I centered my image and uh, I added a class and an ID to set for one to center the list and another one to highlight every second row. And I used this one right here, this center. In order to center this, I used the ID. As you can see, ID center, and it centers it. And for the form, I wanted to, uh, at first it was to the left, but I wanted it to be kind of in the middle of my page. So I decided to center it by using this center form class. And then in my styles, I put it right here, display flex, justify, content, center. So this is how it looks like after it's all said and done. And this will conclude my project.